New season, new animes to watch. Well, the winter season brought a high amount of animes with low quality and questionable stories. The spring season is bringing a really strong lineup in both returning and new animes with a strong contender for Anime of the Year. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. As always, we start running through the returning animes. We have the return of the Lovecraftian beasts and European magecraft in Ancient Magus Bride Season 2. Some harem isekai in Another World with My Smartphone 2. Shonen sports animes come back in Birdie Wing Season 2. And who can forget the uninspiring remake of Tokyo Mew Mew New taking us for a second season. If you're looking for something more laid back, you can watch cute girls in bear pajamas in the second season of Kuma 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 Bear. Or if you're more into romance, Tonikawa 2 is here for you. Ranking of Kings is giving us more Boji and Kage in the adaptation of its side stories. Dr. Stone is coming back for another chemistry lesson for its third season. And who can forget The Witch from Mercury, that had one of the most unexpected endings, returning for a second season to give us more mecha battles. But of course, the big hype is in the long-awaited Demon Slayer going for a third season, in its Swordsmith's Village arc. I gotta admit, 1 minute in, and UFO Table is already slapping every other anime studio with its wallet. How can any other anime even compete against this? Moving on to the new animes. This season is bringing a lot of different genres into the table, and each one is bringing its own uniqueness and flavor. Even isekais. Somehow, even though this season we only really had 6 isekais, we managed to get both the most generic and the most unique premises ever. Let's start with generic. The aristocrat's otherworldly adventure, serving gods who go too far, is the poster boy for generic reincarnation. A guy dies protecting girls from a convenience store robbery, and reborns as an aristocrat's son. During his baptism, the gods decide to give him the most overpowered abilities, and every episode shows how a 5-year-old can destroy country-level threat monsters. You know, the typical isekai. On the other hand, we have the generic Transport to Another World, in Summon to Another World for a second time. As the name suggests, the story follows a guy that is summoned to the same world twice, this time with all his classmates, so he decides to go solo and find what's happening into this world. And of course, there will be a harem group in love with him. You want to know how I know this? Well, I will let you know I already read the full original web novel, so I'm allowed to say it. This is the most generic isekai story you will ever find out there. My one-hit kill sister gives the exact same vibes as the MILF isekai. Just this time we get onechans instead of moms. I got to admit that, well, the story is not going to win any awards. Somehow I'm kind of enjoying this one, and I'm really digging the art style of this anime. As for the humor, it kind of knows that it's a generic premise, and it makes jokes about the situation, so I can appreciate that. But talking about animation, why do isekais always get the best animation ever? I Got a Cheat Skill in Another World and became unrivaled in the real world too has a unique premise of an ugly bastard that can travel between worlds using a door. And after leveling up, he becomes handsome and ripped, which leads to him having a better life in the real world. How did the studio behind Berserk 2016 manage to do this? Oh wait, now I can say it. Jokes aside, most of the anime looks insane, and the story has its uniqueness to it, so I'm really enjoying it. Now imagine this. Your dad runs a cult full of buffed men. He chains you and throws you into the ocean for you to enlighten yourself. But of course, you die. Waking up in another world, you realize here there is no God, which makes you happy, because God has been the reason for your misfortune since you were born. But what is that? People killing themselves in the middle of the street? Kamikatsu, working for God in a godless world, is one of those few animes that look to be normal. But then, out of nowhere, it gives you a 180, showing a girl hanged in the city. As our protagonist protects his friends and is about to be killed, his god from the past world comes out to save him. And now, he needs to help God to gain more followers in order for her to regain her power. Aside from some weird and unnecessary CGI monster, this has to be one of the best and most unique isekais of the season. But another strong contender has to be Death Mount Deathplay. We see a battle between a necromancer skeleton and a hero. Both have this ability to see spirits. They clash in battle, but just at the climax, the necromancer unleashes a spell. Now, we're in a modern day in Tokyo, as our protagonist wakes up in the new body. That looks like it was recently killed. Followed by an assassin, he realizes that there is little to no magic in this world. Well, that is until he's chased into an old Yakuza killing ground, where he can see all the dead people. He absorbs their power and summons skeleton arms to pierce the assassin. That's when you realize, we're not following the hero. This is the story of the necromancer. Now that's how you catch my attention. Keeping up with the serious theme, we have My Home Hero, where a mystery novel author kills the son of a Yakuza in order to protect his daughter. Now, he needs to hide the crime and protect himself and his family from the Yakuza group that is closely monitoring them in the hopes to find out what happened to the Yakuza boss' son. I got to say, the premise and the story so far are looking really interesting. The characters have their motivation, and while I do think it was weird that the mom didn't even flinch when she saw the body, I can understand how the dad had so much knowledge on how to get rid of the body, based on his research as a mystery author. But god, does the animation really put me off from the story. It is not to say that the animation is bad, but it just doesn't match the type of story that it's trying to portray. It feels like a really good adult story being animated as a kids show. Now, moving on to more light-hearted stories. We have the Too Cute Crisis, in which an alien race is deciding on whether to spare or kill the human race, and the investigation officer in charge becomes fascinated with cats and cute animals. Can cats really save the human race from extinction? Or if you're more into romance, The Dangers in My Heart tells the story of a somber kid who falls in love with the most beautiful girl in school. As they have some brief interactions in school, just some classic slow-paced rom-com. There is also Loving Yamada at level 999, the love story of a girl that recently broke up with her boyfriend and meets a handsome but reserved boy while playing an MMO. The story and the animation are both good, but am I the only one that thinks it's kind of weird that a university student is falling in love with a high school student? Lastly, we have the romance drama of Why Raeliana Ended Up in the Duke's Mansion. Based off a Korean manhwa, this is a must-watch for any K-drama lovers. As you know, Koreans always make the best dramas. The setting is around the late 1800s European world, in which a young Korean girl gets reincarnated as a young aristocrat that will die to the hands of her fiancé. So Raeliana has to team up with a two-faced duke in order to survive this new world. Now, for some other animes, we have the original anime of The Marginal Service, in which a detective called Brian Knight Rider witnesses an invisible force killing a suspect. And of course, his superior is not happy with him digging in too much. Knight Rider, you're an embarrassment to the entire department. You're a loose cannon, you hear me? Leave your badge on the desk and get out of my office. He is soon called to join the special task force taking care of this mysterious being, that honestly just looks like the Power Rangers without the mechas. Now, for the cute girls doing cute stuff for the season, we have Otaku Elf, in which a young girl has become the Miko of a shrine that worships an elf that was summoned centuries ago. The only issue is that she's a short-in otaku. This is a cute story of the girls having fun and helping the elf get out of the shrine more often. Then we have a bit of harem in Rokudo's Bad Girls, telling the story of a kid bullied in a school full of delinquents. That is, until he inherits a scroll from his grandfather that puts a spell that makes all delinquent girls fall in love with him.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
This is one of your typical rom-coms with a bit of drama for all of you degenerates that wish to be in his place. Magical Destroyer. I'm really not sure how to feel about this one. Telling the story of a dystopian future in which an organization brainwashed most of Japan into destroying pop culture, a group of otakus are fighting back, led by a guy called the Otaku Hero and a group of magical girls. The premise feels good and I have no complaints about the animation, but so far the story hasn't trapped me yet. I really don't know what it is, but maybe it's just not my style. The OP is fire though. Hey, I heard you don't like isekais, but maybe I can interest you in some fantasy animes? What do you mean? Fantasy is basically the same as isekai. Shonen Jump never misses. And Mashle is yet another example of that. Set in a world of magic, our protagonist was born without it, and after being discovered by a police officer, he makes a deal. Join the most prestigious magical school and use his muscles to become the top student. With the ability to punch away any magic, this has to be one of the funniest and action-packed animes of the season. But if you're looking for a straight-up comedy with a bit of ecchi, you have to watch The Legendary Hero is Dead, telling the story of a tide-loving farmer as he accidentally kills the hero. Now, a necromancer puts his soul into the hero's body so that he can fulfill the task of sealing the Demon King and his army. I gotta say, this is an actually funny anime, and you gotta love the attention to details. 1 second, you can see how two guys from the village are hiding radishes in stockings after being called perverts, and as a demon attacks the village, you see them running with the radishes stealing their hiding spots. Truly a funny ecchi anime. Now for Konosuba lovers, we have the long-awaited 3rd season of Konosuba. What is that? A spin-off? But why do we need a spin-off when the original story is so good? What do you mean we need to sell more Megumin figures? Yep, fan favorite Megumi is finally getting her spin-off / prequel adapted, focusing on the early days as she goes to school in order to master explosion magic. Come on Megumin, say the line. Explosion! Yeah, another million sales of Megumin figures just from that single line. Good old high school dramas where love blooms and you make lifelong friends after puking on your teacher. Wait, what? Skip and Loafer comes as a surprise to me. I was expecting this anime to be a typical high school rom-com, but so far it has proven me wrong. This is a strong high school drama about a town girl going to a Tokyo high school and learning about the unspoken rules of high schoolers, and the subtle behavioral expectations to have a peaceful environment. But of course, there is a love story that is slowly developing between the serious Iwakura and the laid-back Shima, as they both become closer to each other and make friends in high school. I seriously recommend this one. Even if you're not into high school dramas, I'm sure it will surprise you. Moving on to the big hitters of the season. A world destroyed because of big monstrous creatures called the Man-Eaters. Kids protect in a closed environment. And a boy and a girl traveling Japan searching for heaven. Heavenly Delusion is an incredible story. The world building sets you up in an eerie world where outside of big settlements, every man is for themselves. But humans are not the only thing to be scared of, as huge man-eating monsters can kill you in an instant. Following a boy and a girl that look to be able to kill these monsters, we are trapped in a world full of mystery, drama, and action that really will keep you on the edge of your seat. Hell's Paradise. Sometimes all you need is an edgy anime with a bit of blood and violence. And that is exactly what Hell's Paradise brings to the table. Set in feudal Japan, a group of death row inmates and their executioners are sent to a mysterious island with monsters out of this world in order to find an elixir of immortality. We follow Gabimaru, a ninja with some incredible resistance and ninjutsu powers, as he fights the monster and other inmates in a chance to get a pardon from the government. You gotta love the action and animation for this one, and with some incredibly creepy monster, this show is looking like a banger. When making an anime, a good first episode is always a must to catch the attention of the audience. And only a few animes have achieved the impossible of becoming iconic. The colossal titan peeking out, the death note falling from the sky. And now, Oshi no Ko. I know, this was kind of a cheating because the episode was 90 minutes long, basically covering 4 episodes of a normal anime. But god, that was one of the best first episodes I have ever seen in a long time. Now, I don't want to give too many spoilers, but the main premise follows a doctor that loves an idol. Said idol appears in the office pregnant, but before he can help her deliver the baby, he's killed by one of her fans. Next thing, he wakes up as the baby of the idol. This is a huge drama about growing up in the entertainment industry, the difficulties of standing out from the lot, and of course, the story of a guy finding who was the true killer of his past self, and maybe something else. Go watch Oshi no Ko, possibly the anime of the year. And with that, we come to the conclusion of this video. Which was your favorite anime of the season? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, see you guys next time.